everyone, how you doing? Welcome back to TSW4 and a 24-hour early access to the DBBR218 locomotive DLC, which is releasing tomorrow across the board. A lot of people have been looking forward to this one. Here it is though. We're on the PC today. We are on the Hamburg Lubeck route, so it'd be nice to get back on Hamburg Lubeck. I've not driven it for quite some time actually, so I thought we'd have a quick look. So let's get started. We are at Hamburg station, but before we do anything, I want to go outside and have a look first. Let's show you it from the outside. So we'll climb down. We'll just run one service, I think, on Hamburg Lubeck, and then we can have a really good look at it. It's decent length services, but here is the 218. Oh, it looks really good. Now this is made by TSG Train Sim Germany, so it's not a Dovetail product. This is one of the third-party developers. They've worked with DTG on various things, but the one you might remember in particular was the G6 Shunter, which was another quality locomotive DLC. If you haven't got that, go and look that up in the next sale even. If it's there and you've not got it, try it. I think you'll be quite impressed with that one. But we're here to talk about the 218. Here it is. It's a bit of a beast, isn't it? Look at it. I mean, look at the top. When we get moving, you will see the diesel fumes just spilling out the top of those two sort of exhaust pipes on the top. It really is a beast. It's probably terrible for the environment, but virtually for us, where we're not causing any trouble, it's going to be a nice one to drive. So I just wanted to show you a little bit from the outside. The detail's nice. Look at the weather in the reflection. It's really well made, really well done. It's in the famous DB livery that we've come to know and love in Train Sim World. We'll hop on board and have a quick look on foot as well at what we've got before we get everything set up. Obviously, having a walk around like this means we're going to be late, but who cares? Let's go inside. You can walk around. You can't get through this bit into the engine room, but you can get through, as you can see here. You can see right through to the other side there. No, we don't want to give up because we're having a wander around. So I'm just looking to see what these levers do. I don't think they actually operate for us. No, they don't. So we'll go back into the main cab and look what we've got. Again, the detailing is very good. I love this sort of green trim around the windows and the desk. Really good. Love that. You know what? We're going to hop in. We're going to get set up, and we'll take it from there. It is a tap changer. So this is the reason for this big wheel. You can't steer with that, obviously, but I know it's a little bit confusing when you first drive one of the tap changer locos. We need to get the doors open, so let's put that into forwards. Then we can open the doors in the usual way. Now, the best way to do this, I found, is to look at the desk with this view, because there's various things we need to do. We need the transition power. I'm probably not doing these in order. There is a tutorial which is very good, which actually gets you to do a cold start. So I would highly recommend, if you pick this up, that you do run that first, because that is interesting, and it'll show you all around this desk and what it is you need to do. Change the marker light to white. Also that one on the front and this one. Is there anything else? Cab lights we won't need. The instrument lights we will definitely need. And I think that is all. Let's just turn up the levels of said lights. The other thing we need to do is turn the brake key on, which will let us operate the brakes. I think we're pretty much ready to go. Now, the one thing that is a little bit strange on here, I've had a good search around in both cabs. I can't find the actual switches for PZB and CIFA. I can find where you change the PZB mode, but I can't find the actual switches. I'm going to raise that tomorrow, because if you're on console and you don't necessarily have a keyboard, then of course you need the switches to switch safety systems on. So I will check that with DTG, because I can't find them anywhere. They'll be there somewhere, but they're hidden. So I'm gonna actually put the safety systems on with the keyboard. So I'll put PZB on with Control Enter, then Shift Enter for CIFA, which will get us all ready to go, and we can lock the doors. We've got plenty of people on board. Hamburg's a nice station, isn't it? I love this with the let me do that again. With the advertising boards there, it's quite nice. And of course, going out of the station as well, we've got the big Philips sign up there. If I can just scroll up a little bit, there we go. Yeah, it's a lovely station. And like I said, I've not been on this route for such a long time. Right, we're ready to go. We're in forwards. So we've got the doors closed. Let's release the brakes. So we need to put the throttle into notch 2. You see this transmission light comes on. Once that goes out, we can start to accelerate a little bit more. So we'll put it into notch 5 just as we pull away. Now this run takes us all the way down to Lübeck. So it's a decent run. I think we've got one stop. Let me just release that PZB. We've got one stop along the way, and then the rest of the way is a speed run all the way down to Lübeck. So let's just acknowledge that. Once we get out and we're running, we'll have a look through the Dovetail Live article, if I can do that while I'm driving, and we'll just have a quick look what it's all about. But this does release tomorrow. And we'll go through the services that are available and the scenarios, etc. Few lights to acknowledge as we leave Hamburg. Let's just have a quick look outside. You can see the heat coming out. I don't know if you can see that, the heat coming out of the exhausts. There'll be better examples of that. You can just see the fumes there coming out of the top that I mentioned. Quite a squeaky horn, isn't it? So, in the cab, most things are... You're able to operate them, so the window there, so we've got the small window, the large window there as well. And the sound definitely increases. Let's just make sure we're not speeding. So that one opens as well. That one folds inwards. It's quite a nice little touch. I think what we'll do though is we'll close these just so that you can hear me talking as we go. Not that one. I want to close that one. We'll do that in a minute because I don't want to come to a complete halt. What can we do? 40. We can do 40 now at the station, so we'll get moving again. That's it. You just got to sort of click near this this opening knob to be able to get that one back. Okay. So as soon as we're off this slope, we should get up to 100. Quite an old Loco, isn't it? And again, there's a little bit of that covered in the tutorial and in the Dovetail article that we'll have a look at. So, German railways, I don't know a lot about German railways or locos, but I always know from working with the other Dovetail ambassadors, once something in Germany is announced, I can tell by the reaction of the German ambassadors in the group about how excited they're getting about something coming out. This one, they were quite excited about it, so I knew this one was going to be good. So obviously you guys have got to make your own minds up. I've had one drive of it. I've done one service on Hamburg Lubeck, and I did actually quite enjoy it, I've got to tell you. So I think you guys will too, especially if you like these old tap changing diesels. A bit like the 155. The 155 is the original tap changing diesel we got, I think, on Rose Ignored as a Loco DLC. That's always a nice one to drive. This is very similar. But the 155 seems a bit more suited to freight. This one definitely is more suited to passenger. That's just my feeling after a quick drive of it. But you can do passenger and freight runs, I believe, on Hamburg Lubeck with this 218. So it's not just restricted to the passenger. We've got a stop coming up, so we'll make that stop, and then whilst we're doing the big section of the run, we'll have a look at the article. It's got 15 notches on the tap changer, by the way, if you're wondering. We talked about the 155. I think the 155's got 32 notches, so this has just got 15. All the readouts that you need are here. The CIFR's quite bright. When that lights up, you'll see that quite often. Also, this is quite good. This panel, let's turn up the brightness up to 100. That's quite easy to see as well if you're using the PZB. That CIFR light's in a good position. It's right in front of your face, so you see it instantly when it comes up. And you get the warning, of course. The audible warning. So this is Hasselbrook. This is where we're stopping. We're 2 minutes late because we had a wander around at the beginning, but I'm not too worried. We'll put a little bit of brake in, because we are doing 47 kilometers per hour. As with all these older German locos, brakes seem to be really good. You can see how fast that speed is coming off. In fact, we're going to stop quite short. Let me see if I can roll forward before we come to a complete stop. That's better. There we go. Let's go and open the doors. I think on the back we've got the N-Wagen, which we've had before, haven't we? Just recently on a couple of routes. So most players will have already driven one of these. There's plenty of people getting off. It's nice to see. I think actually the last time I played Hamburg Lubeck was before the passengers were upgraded. So there's a little bit less people hanging around. Right, we can lock the doors and we can be away. Oh, you see that guy? He tried to get off. Shall I let him off? Go on. I didn't say you as well. You can stop, you know. If you're not paying attention, you're not paying attention. In fact, let's do this from outside, shall we? Because I want you to see if you can see the diesel smoke coming out the top. You can see it there, look, coming against the blue sky. You can see it. It's a really nice effect, that. It's got a throttle 5. And let it pick up. So we've got 53 kilometres all the way down to Lübeck, so as I said, it's a decent run. So we'll let it start to do its thing. Let's have a quick look at the article, shall we? So this was released last week, along with when the date was being released. It's time to hit the main line with the thundering diesel power of the DBBR218 developed by TSG. And as I said, it's coming out June the 25th, which is tomorrow as you're watching this. And 218 is taking up both passenger and freight duties on both main line and branch lines, which we talked about. But then there's a little bit about the history, which is that the prototypes of the 218 were first built in the late 60s, before the main run of locos entered service between 1971 and 1979 and became staple locomotives running across West Germany due to their impressive power output of 2,800 horsepower and a top speed of 140 kilometers per hour. Now, I don't know if we can push it to 100. We can push it to 140. I can see 140 coming up, so we'll see how near we can get to 140 once we're able to, signals permitting, of course. In fact, let's take the tap changer up, shall we, to 15, which is the maximum. There we go. So we're in the top notch of throttle right now, so we'll let that speed increase. It says, like many German locomotives, their use was extended over many decades through until the early 2000s, with many examples still being active today. But as time progressed, they slowly began to be replaced by more efficient DMUs and electric traction, as more parts of the network switched to electrified lines. But many remain in use for a variety of services, and in recent decades have been allocated to push-pull operations on certain lines, long-distance mainline passenger trains, and hauling out-of-service ICE units, as well as occasional heritage rail tours. So in the game, the 218 is recreated with a detailed cab and exterior, as we've already seen, which allows the players to experience the thrill of mainline diesel traction for the first time in Train Sim World. The audio has been sourced from a real-world driver, this type of locomotive, which is always quite nice to know. And the exterior is being modelled based on detailed imagery from the real thing. So it sounds as if they didn't get access to an actual loco itself anywhere. But I'll be interested to know from many players that are watching this that do know the 218 and have travelled on it or have seen it. Let me know, because I'm always interested to know what the real life counterpart is like, and you know, how close is it to the one we get in the sim. It does take some special kind of driving, according to the article. Like most other olden German classes, it needs some patience and foresight when driving it. It's similar to the BR110, where you need to throttle down before you can start braking, and the time needed from going down from notch 15 to 2 and then down to 0 is about 25 seconds, so you've got to keep that in mind when you want to brake. Now, I've done a little bit of both. I will tell you that you can do it in a little bit less than that, but you're not doing it correctly. So don't worry about getting it exactly right. But if you want to do it correctly, you'll have to follow that advice. And we're just approaching 140 kilometers per hour, by the way, which is our max speed. Max speed for the loco, max speed for this section of the line as well. Oh, it's a lovely looking thing, isn't it? Cold starting the loco requires some patience as well, and can take some time. And as I said, do the tutorial, because you get to experience that in the tutorial. And it says otherwise, it's a fun and easy to drive locomotive, and it is. Once you get it moving, as per now, this is really good fun. Especially on one of these really long runs. And you know I like a long run. I've said it again and again. So let's talk about the services though, because that's what provides the value for money, isn't it? The primary route, of course, for this is this route, which is the Hamburg Lubeck route add-on. This has been out for quite a while. If you don't own it yet, it is quite often in the sale. So it's quite a straight route with a lot of freight operation as well. So it's quite a nice route to have in your collection. And there's 29 services available for the 218. 15 RE83 services that run from Hamburg to Lübeck. Those are the Kiel services. That's one that we're on now, which are hauling N wagons. There's one R83 service from Hamburg to Lübeck hauling a BR112 and DOS doors. There's two RE85 services that run from Hamburg to Lübeck. They're hauling DOS doors. And there are 11 freight services that run between Rothenburg-Sort and Lübeck using the included freight. So, if you've just got Hamburg-Lübeck, there's a bit of a variation to do there, which is quite nice to see. There's also some further services though, going northbound, and there's 16 RE83 services that run from Lübeck to Hamburg using the N-Wagen cab car. So the 218, obviously that means it will be on the back, but you're using the N-Wagen at the other end, which we looked at in the beginning. There's one RE83 service that runs from Lübeck to Hamburg using the DOS door with a 112 in the formation, and I'm slowing down, so let me get up to speed. There's one RE83 depot service and two RE85 services that run from Lübeck to Hamburg using the DOS door cab car. So the DB BR218, if you've got this route and all the other layers, which we'll briefly talk about in a second, you'll have 200 sorry, ignore what I'm saying. Hamburg-Lübeck with the 218 now has 271 playable services. So, as I said, worth getting Hamburg-Lübeck. Now let me talk about the other layers. Mantelborn. Players with both Hamburg-Lübeck and Mantelborn will be able to operate additional services on this recent route, which represents a period between December 2017 and 2018 where Westfrankenbahn required additional traction to replace a BR642 that had been allocated elsewhere, and a 218 was provided for that. There are 19 RB88 and a handful of short shunting depot services for the 218 on Mantelborn. And I was keeping my eye on a red light, which seems to have cleared itself, which is good. Players can also enjoy an express style service in free roam to recreate the occasion of a 218 rail tour which arrived on the line in 2019. These locomotives, albeit in liveries not represented in game, also ran along lines in Linke Rheinstrecke and Niedertalbahn, which players can choose to represent in free roam, because with free roam of course we can put pretty much anything anywhere, which I quite enjoy. And the red signal is back, so I need to keep an eye on that. In fact, you know what, let's prepare early. We'll try that stopping procedure. So put the throttle down to 2. The engine starts to come down. And we let the engine come all the way down before we can turn that to off, and then we can start to brake because the red is rapidly approaching. So we'll just start taking down the speed, shall we? We've got the 2 yellows in front, so the red is definitely coming. Let's acknowledge this. We need to get down to 85, pretty sharpish. There we go. Let's just coast along until the red. So, what about pricing then? So it's available tomorrow, and it's for everywhere: Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Epic Game Store and Steam. If you're in the UK, it is £14.99. So whatever equivalent that is in your own currency, basically, on your own store. And let's make sure we get stopped. Because we won't want any disasters on our first run. We'll leave the train braking too, so all that's on red. Let's just have another look at the outside, shall we? It really is a nice looking Loco. You can tell its age, can't you? The level of detail though, everywhere, is just... it's just amazing. Lots and lots of detail. You see right through to the other side there in the engine room, which is quite interesting. We got a green light, so we'll take the brake off. But let's listen to it from the outside, shall we? See the smoke effect there at the top? Very nice. So we need to stay under 45. We've still got 34 kilometres down to Lübeck, so we've still got quite a bit to go. PZB safe to release, so we can come up to speed. I suspect there's somebody in front of us that's a little bit slower, so we'll just need to keep an eye on that. But we're cleared all the way back up to 140 kilometres per hour. Suspect the one in front of us probably just left this station a little bit before we arrived at that signal. So, what do you guys think? I'd be interested to know, as always, what your feedback is on this particular Loco DLC. I can tell you that it is very nice to drive. It is, and also it's got me back on Hamburg Lubeck. I've had Hamburg Lubeck now for quite some time. I didn't get it. I must admit, I didn't get Hamburg Lubeck the week that it came out. I think I bought it the first sale opportunity that there was. And I think the reason for that at the time was that I had several other German routes that I was working my way through. And I thought to myself, I'm not going to get to Hamburg Lubeck straight away because I'm going to be playing the others. So I might as well hang on, play a little bit more of the others, and then see where we are with Hamburg Lubeck. And then by that time it was in the sale. So that was on the PS5 where I play most of my TSW. This is on the PC, so you've seen a couple of the pop-ups saying I've done things for the first time, because this is really the first time I've played it on PC. Early access, as you're aware, is only available on PC, so I can't show it you on the PS5 until Tuesday or afterwards when it releases. So for now we're on the PC. So I agree with the article, you know, it's pretty easy to drive. As you can see, I'm driving it with the safety systems on, and as always, there is no need for you to run with the safety systems on if you don't use them. Generally, there's no requirement to do so. Unlike the Long Island Railroad recently, where we had to have the safety systems on all the time, there isn't such a requirement for this, and I think I just missed acknowledging that. 1000 Hertz magnet, which is fine. We'll come to a stop and we'll see what we need to do. It's always the case, isn't it, when you're talking about using PZB and then it catches you out. Okay, let's release it first of all. And I think the brakes up there, you can see the brakes are recovering. Once they're fully recovered, we should be able to get going again. make sure they're released. Put the throttle into number 2. Let's see. Might just take a second for the brakes to come off. There we go. So we're on the move again. So again, it's good to do a review of that if you get an emergency stop. It's pretty straightforward. Just come to a complete stop if you're using the PZB. That's probably the reason you've got the stop or the CIFA. So just release the PZB. Wait for the brakes to come off up here on this dial. And then you should be able to accelerate off again. So pretty straightforward. So that will at least give a few more seconds to the train in front. Put some distance between us. We've got a 90 coming up, so I just want to put a little bit more power on. So I need to stay under 45 actually with this, with the way the PZB is flashing at me. So I want to make sure that I'm doing that. Hopefully at this next signal it will release. Oh, it's released already. Okay, so we're okay now to accelerate up again. One thing I do keep forgetting is to put it into throttle notch 2 and wait for this transmission light to go out before I increase again. So, but as you can see, I was saying at the beginning, it does let you still operate it that way, but it's not the correct way. The tutorial will explain all that though, so don't worry too much about that. Yeah, there's that smoke effect from the exhausts. Pretty nice in a game. Now I don't know if that's got stuck in the hood there, top right. You can see it says acknowledge the 1000 Hz and it's greyed out. Looks like that's stuck there because we've done that, we've passed all that now. We had the emergency stop. But we've still got a good 30 kilometres. Yeah, that beast of an engine, 2,800 horsepower, kicking in. We're actually due in 14 minutes, but we were a couple of minutes behind. We've had one emergency stop, so you can add a few minutes onto that. It won't be 2 minutes past 10 when we're getting in, certainly. Acceleration's good for an old loco. Looking around the cab, this screen isn't in use, unfortunately. Lots of dials everywhere. Got an ashtray over there, if you so desire, because these are trains of a certain age. After all, we got the blinds there, which you can pull down. Nice little squeak with those as well. On the driver's side. Right, we're at the max speed again. My word, there's a lot of people on that platform. There's probably somebody hot-tailing it behind me that's picking those guys up. That's a shame, because they're probably all going to Lübeck anyway. But I think we've got quite a busy train, haven't we, today? Quite busy. I've got the dynamic weather turned off today as well for this run. As you know, when I leave the dynamic weather on, it pretty much always comes out with the fog. And I'm there trying to show you a new route or a local DLC, and the fog comes out and ruins it. So I've turned it off completely. So we are actually, as I recall from the beginning settings, it is the current date in June, and it is set to clear, so it should stay clear for the whole way along, hopefully, so you can have a good look. This could be the first time you've seen Hamburg Lubeck as well, if you're a newer player. So hopefully, as well as the Loco, you actually like the route as well. It's a pretty straight route. If I just quickly show you the map. We've got Hamburg down at this end, and the freight terminal you see at the right hand side. It's pretty straight run all the way up to Lübeck, and it's covered by the target, but there is a big freight depot of this side as well. So there's a lot of full length runs. If you've got a stopping train as well, it's quite a long service end to end. Very industrial route as well. Lots of industry along the way. There's a nice little variation on a drive-by. I'm surprised we didn't get emergency stop then while I was out of the cab. Right, we've got 19 kilometres to go to Lübeck. So we'll complete the full run on this. This is just to give you a first look, an early first look. Just in case you're on the fence about picking this up tomorrow, or just to give you another look at it. I think Dovetail are doing a release day stream on Tuesday evening. So if you have a look at Dovetail's channel, you will see them present it. I think Matt will be doing the driving according to the schedule. So yep, go ahead and watch that. He will give you far more technical knowledge about the Loco and the route than I will ever be able to do. So go and check that out, definitely. and I think what we'll do is play this. We'll play this in a live stream, I think, as well as this video. We'll be back and do a live on this one, and there'll be a chance to ask a few questions, so make sure you come back. Hopefully that is also scheduled for some point today as you watch this. And once again, I went straight down to throttle 0 instead of throttle 2. I went to go to throttle 2 until that yellow light, that transition light, goes out. How are we doing? 16 kilometres. So I think in the article as well, if I remember rightly, there are some scenarios for this. There usually is for a Loco DLC. I'm just trying to see if I can locate how many. Let me go to the Dovetail Live article itself. Just have a quick look at this to my left. Somewhere. I just seen a photograph of it in the snow as well. It looks good in the snow. Four scenarios are covered with the 218. 4 additional scenarios covering both passenger and freight operations. So there you go. As well as all the services, there are some scenarios if scenarios are your thing. I do quite enjoy the scenarios. I have been looking through on the PlayStation. There's several hundred, because I've got everything on the PlayStation, there's several hundred scenarios available. I think there's about 100 of those I haven't done. So I started going through, trying to see which ones I've not done yet, and just replaying them. Just to make sure I can fill the list. So I've been having a good time with those because it's making me go back to routes that I've not played, you know, in some cases for quite some time. 12 kilometres. You can see how far we are now from the end of the route. Sweep around this bend. It is a nice looking thing, isn't it, for its age? And as I said, all the German ambassadors were telling me, oh, it's a classic, this one. We've been waiting for this for a long time. This is great, this. So you know it's going to be a good one. That's how I gauge it. Bit of a micro stutter there. I should have said right at the beginning, actually, that of course, because I've got early access, this is a preview build. So the whole TSW build that I'm on is a preview build. Of course, the 218 itself is a preview build. It's because it's not in public release yet. So just keep that in mind. There's likely to be some changes between now and when it releases. I haven't noticed any anomalies with it, I must admit, but if you have during this run, then just keep in mind that it might not be the finished article quite yet. If you know where those PZB and CIFA switches are, you tell me. Take that speed off. 8.3 to go. Now, with this one, was it the 110 where you could, I don't know if I want to say it's the 110. Was it the 110 where if you add in too much tap, too many notches of tap, you could sort of blow the engine, so to speak, and you had to close the circuit breaker again, etc., to get it going. I don't know if this one does that. It won't do you any good on the engine if you put it straight to 15, put it that way. But I don't think it has that kind of feature. I'm trying to remember the exact term for it, but you know what I mean. If you accelerated too much, you'd hear a loud bang, and basically the power would shut itself off. You had to re-engage the circuit breaker again to get it moving. I don't think this one does that. We've had one emergency stop. I don't think we need any others. But anyway, we're due in just under 2 minutes. Well, just over a minute now, isn't it? And we're 5 kilometres away, so we're not that far behind. Not really. We haven't done too bad. Very smooth running Loco. It feels solid to sit and drive. I mean, look at the weathering on the desk. The detail. The dials seem a bit more pronounced to me than some of the previous releases. You know, I could be making that up, as I didn't acknowledge that. As I admiring the desk, I didn't acknowledge the 1000 hertz magnet. So here we go again. But that's fine. That's what it's there for. If you're not paying attention, it's a safety feature. So there we go. Release the PZB. Watch for the brakes coming back up, and then we should be able to move off. But we'll be restricted to 45 kilometers per hour for this. Under the PZB. So after only being a couple of minutes behind, we're now going to set us back another minute or so. I don't think the passengers will mind. Well, I hope they won't. They'll be pleased to know that I'm not the regular driver on this route, so this is going to be a one-off for them. Looks pretty mean inside the engine room there. The piping and different bits and pieces. All this will be to do with the cooling, won't it? The fact that it's open. I'm not having much luck, am I? This is the thing when you go outside the cab, so I missed another one there. Sometimes I like to have a fly around outside the cab and just have a look at the general surroundings, and as this is a first look, we want to look at the outside of the 218, but it can be slightly costly, let's say, but as long as this emergency stop recovery is quite easy, then it's not too bad. Right, brakes have recovered. Let's try again. We've only got 3.7 kilometres to go. I'm going to stay in the cab and stay out of trouble, see if we can get there in one piece. I've quite enjoyed the run, I must admit. It's been nice to get back on Hamburg Lubeck. it's also been nice to drive something completely different. I think, you know, I'm going to hazard a guess that the 218 is going to be popular. If German railways are your thing, certainly I'm hoping you've been looking forward to this one, just like the German ambassadors. I think it's very nice. It's very well made, it looks good, it drives well, it feels solid. And it's available tomorrow, so you can pick it up if you want to. That's safe to release, so let's do that. And as we're entering Lübeck, we have a 60. And as I recall, I think we have a 40 going into the actual station, so let's acknowledge this 60. In fact, there's a couple of them, look, all on the same bend. There's another one right there, so let's acknowledge that. And there's another one here, so let's acknowledge that one. So let's go to number 2, throttle 2. When the light goes out, which it just did, then we go down to 0. So we're approaching Lübeck, where the freight yards are. So when you do the freight services, you'll peel off to the right hand side here. Drop off your wagons or deliver wagons, etc. You can see some static stock just sat there now over on the right hand side. Right, I'm acknowledging that one. I haven't forgotten about that one. I did say I would stay in the cab, but let's just go out for a second just to look one final time. Just over a kilometre to go into Lübeck, and that will be us done on this little look. Early access look. Hope you enjoy it. Let me know what you think about the early accesses. Do you enjoy these? Do you come back for these? Do you always make a point of watching them now? I'd be interested to know on that feedback. I hope they are useful. I hope as well that you enjoy quite a balanced view of what it is we're looking at. I tend to just say what I see. If I like it, I'll tell you. If I don't like it, I'll also tell you that as well. That's important, so I want to make sure that you guys know that as well, because these have got to be useful to you guys if you're having a look and potentially going to pick this up. So this is us. We're coming into Lübeck. We've got a red at the end of the platform, so throttle is into 0, which is fine. I will put the minimum brake on. Lovely summer's day in June, perfect for a run through Germany. Another 218 on the left there, just going out on the back. welcome to Lübeck, everybody. Let's get ourselves to a stop. Get the doors open, let's get everybody off, and we'll get those points and get out of here. So, yeah, once again, I do hope it's been useful. Do give me a thumbs up if you thought it was, and don't forget to subscribe as well. We got early access to TSW each time something is released. We'll always have it 24 hours before, so come back and have a look. Plenty more TSW, other types of trains, planes, trucking, you name it, it's on the channel. So if you want to subscribe, you'd be more than welcome. It'd be nice to see you. So this releases tomorrow. Hope you're looking forward to it. Take care, everybody, and I will see you on the next one.